Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Boggany. We're here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15. My guest in the studio tonight is Kimberley Henson. Kimberley is with the Houston Black Real Estate Association, and she will be giving us an update on what's going on in the Houston Black real estate market, and she's going to tell us about her opportunity to go to DC and lobby, which she's been there before. This show is brought to you by American Title and Dixie Hardware. I'm your host, Shad Boggany, and we also filming this show on the Real Estate Corner television show. So we're doing this, you'll be able to see this show on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and Sunday evening at 8 p.m. The Real Estate Corner has been on the air now 28 years. This is our 28th year on the air, talking real estate as we do here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15. At this time, I'm going to welcome my guest, Kimberley. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Shad.
I know this was a last minute for you, and I really appreciate you stepping in with us. You had an opportunity to go to DC and lobby a little bit. And tell me what's your thoughts of going to DC with the realtors. I know you've gone with the realtors, but what was your thoughts going and seeing it from this side of the table?
It was pretty significant, and one of the most significant things I find is kind of funny that they actually came to us, Shad.
Yes.
we actually had it set up instead of walking through the halls of Washington. The politicians actually came over and greeted us. So that was one of the first amazing things that I saw. But having the opportunity to go with the realtors on a greater platform, the realtors represent 1.3 million of us, was certainly significant to see the amount of political, what would I say, notice that's taken
when we were at the Capitol.
Absolutely.
And I am the federal political coordinator for Congressman Al Green. And Al was there on time, started off right off the bat, and we went over several issues. So I wanted today with Kimberley talk about the issues that we talked about. We talked about net neutrality. And net neutrality, for those who are not familiar with net neutrality, says that the internet can be regulated by the big boys, the Verizons, the AT&T. So what's going to happen is they're going to determine whether or not your website come up first. So they're going to have a slow lane and a fast lane. Currently, everybody's on the fast lane.
That's right.
Right, but now they're going to go, and the Trump administration has passed a deal which allows them to say, Kimberley, your website won't come up too quickly unless you're willing to pay extra for it. And if you're on AT&T, your website may not come up, or you may not be able to download your movies as quick if you're on Verizon. And so to me, the internet is a public utility, pretty much.
Yes,
and it should be a public utility. And the other thing about net neutrality, I got an email. I don't know if you've gotten, maybe some of our viewers and listeners have gotten an email, but what it talked about, Infinity sent me an email and said, hey, if you bundle all your services, we will give you faster email service.
Wow. So
that's how important net neutrality is. And if you live in a rural community and you're watching us, net neutrality is going to hurt you more than the people who are in the big communities where the Verizons, the AT&Ts are all there for you to be able to get it. The second issue that we had to deal with the marriage tax penalty. You know, the Republicans passed the tax bill, and basically it said it put a cap on taxes. So the most you can write off on your taxes are $10,000.
for your mortgage.
For your mortgage, and that's the most that you can write off. So, but if you're married, we as realtors think you ought to be able to write off 10 for your wife, 10 for you. But they put whether you're married or single all on the same level as $10,000. What were your thoughts on that? Did you?
Well, I had a bunch of thoughts on both of those issues, Shad.
Well, what makes this show is you talking.
Yeah, so going to the marriage component and putting that cap on, that cap really hurts working Americans. Those people in the middle class who really count on those tax deductions every year. And so having the ability to take the deduction for both spouses will allow you the better chance of getting the whole deduction as previously than before. You know, they talk about this only affecting those people in high dollar homes, but that's not necessarily the case. You have some tax areas. Let's take California for instance. A median income home is probably $500,000, so they are immediately impacted in a situation where there's already not enough land, affordable homes for people to buy. So it's a bad deal. I'm definitely on the side of the point that we as realtors have bought to our politicians that we should have that deduction on both sides. I'm of the opinion that it shouldn't have been changed.
No, it shouldn't have been. Because what's happening, guys, those who are watching us tonight and listening to us, is that now what they've done is put renters on the same level as homeowners. And it's never been that way. When they did it in Canada, home ownership went down. So when we talk about building wealth, the only way to build wealth in this country is own real estate. If you notice, everybody who makes their money, they go put it in real estate later on. So home ownership is really, really important. So the tax issue, we know how you feel about net neutrality. The other issue is equal housing, access to housing. Let's talk a little bit about flood insurance. The flood insurance goes away July 31st. They've constantly kicked the can down. We're there telling Congress that we need you to fix the flood insurance issue. It is no bigger issue in Houston than flood insurance. And you've got, why can't we, it's almost $28 billion in debt. This is how much debt that flood insurance is. So why can't we forgive it? We give money to Israel and we forgive it. We give money to all these other foreign countries, not just Israel, Africa, Europe, Asian companies. We forgive debt there. So why can't we forgive debt of people who are earning that tax dollar debt, who are sending that money to Washington?
Well, we can, but the powers that be have decided not to. I think it is a sad day when we have the level of homes being destroyed by so many disasters, especially when we're talking about flood, and not have the capability to give relief to those people affected, and then to take away the current relief that they have access to. And the restructuring of it is definitely necessary, but not in the way that it's currently laid out before Congress and what they're approving to happen.
You're listening to The Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. We're here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15. We take you home. And if you're driving, you're stuck in traffic, you need to turn on. You were hoping to hear some gospel this evening. Well, what you're hearing is the gospel of real estate. And we're taking that into play here tonight and trying to help you understand what's going on around you. A lot of us, we're voting. You cannot change anything unless you go vote. And so we can complain, we can talk about it, we can wish, but nothing's more important than these local elections right now. These are the judges that are giving you a longer sentence than the person over here that doesn't look like you. These are the things that are happening, and we've got to be determined to make sure. You've got all these runoffs. We've got an opportunity to make change. And I'm tired of being governed by the vocal minority. And so we need to get more people out here to vote. For those who said, hey, you know, and I throw this out, and I'm sure my daughter, and both of my daughters, I hope they're listening. You know, I told them, they said, but Dad, I'm supporting Bernie Sanders. Nothing Bernie has said going to ever come to fruition. And so, and after I talked to them, they said, now I understand. And now they understand even more. Because what you got was the people who supported Bernie. You're not going to get free tuition. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. We're not in that type of society.
We've got to find the most common issues and bring those two parties together. Because if we had not had that division between Bernie and Hillary, we would have a much different outcome than what we have right now. So you're absolutely right.
We've got the, you know, and that's the thing that we don't forget. And I had nothing wrong with what Bernie wanted to do. The problem is we're in a capitalistic society. We're not in a social society. Socialism. We're in capital. So everything is about money and everything. So, you know, I'm telling you to go out to vote. A hopeless people is a voteless people. You've got to go out and go vote. and you got plenty of time. They got runoffs out there, but we can make a difference. You know, I've seen people win by 5 votes. I've seen people win by 2 votes. They had a state representative in Virginia won by 1 vote.
Look what happened at North.
Yeah,
with Sherry
exactly.
and who was
Charlie Opler.
Yeah, 9 votes, right?
Yeah, 9 votes.
Mean, the votes
and
count.
votes do count. Numbers here again, 281-837-2222. All our lines are open. And of course, if you're looking at us on Saturday morning, you're listening to the Real Estate Corner television show. So we've now taken it to another level. We're doing TV, we're doing radio, and we decided to do a little bit different. Instead of me always in the studio, we do it as we take the show. And no, I don't have a tie on today because I need to get into my natural look. And so that's without a tie. Kimberly, tell them about the Houston Black Real Estate Association.
Oh, I would love to. The Houston Black Real Estate Association is a local chapter of NARAB. NARAB was founded in 1947, and it was an organization when people who look like me, y'all see what I look like, right? People who look like me could not be a part of the current National Association of Realtors. So we became Realtists. Realtists is the trademark of HBREA. And here in Houston, we actually could not be a part of the other organization until 1972.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. We are currently at the lowest housing rate amongst blacks since the Great Depression, with this being, Shad, as you know, the 50th anniversary of fair housing. We are only 1% higher than we were 50 years ago when the 50th anniversary, well, when the act was actually signed into law. The actual numbers that our rate of home ownership is 1% in 50 years. That's crazy. Of course, we had some ups and we went back down, but as it stands right now, we're 1% above where we were 50 years ago. Fair housing has not been fair.
No, it has not been fair, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Lyndon Baines Johnson, President Johnson, signed that bill, and he only got the bill signed because they had assassinated Martin Luther King. So he used the sympathy to get that bill done. And so, and to say 50 years later, we are still at the same point of home ownership. We're more educated today. We've got better jobs today. We're making more money today. And we're owning the same amount of homes that we owned in 1968.
Oh,
unbelievable.
I lost my headset on
that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And to show a little bit more is that I was doing some reading. There was a fair housing at 50. This study was done by Lisa Sturdivant. She's did a study, and it was expanding the access to opportunities May 18. She just did this study. And as I was going through this study, I was shocked to find out that 1 out of 4 Anglos believe it's okay to sell their homes to African Americans if they choose not to.
Today. That's 2018, right?
Right, 2018. And this is most current information that's there. 1 out of 28. And that just blows me away that is what's going on. 1 out of 28.
It's that way.
28%, 1 out of 4. I'm sorry.
It's not just changing the mindset of people that we're up against with what is going on, and not having the significant amount of increase that we should have based on our level of education and finances then versus now. But it's also the politics of it as well that is causing a problem. It's also the lack of fair lending practices that is causing an issue. And some of those are the overlays, as you know, that they add on to the FHA guidelines. If they say it's a 580 credit score that you can have, then the lender then puts their overlay on and say, no, you need a 640. FHA may say, I only need you to have 3 credit trade lines in order to qualify for an FHA loan, but then when it gets to that actual banking partner, they say, no, we need you to have 5. So there are overlays that are added on top of programs that were instituted in order to put more people into homes that's actually working against us and not helping. So there's a lot of legal things as well as the individual mindsets that we've been up against, and that's why we don't see the reflection of change.
Okay. The numbers here again, 281-837-2222. We're here with Kimberley Barn Henson. Kimberley is a real estate broker. Kimberley, what's your company's name and the phone number?
Yes, I am KBH Signature Realty Group. My phone number is 713-742-2424.
You can catch us every Tuesday. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. If you're looking for a title company, you need to call American Title. Charlene Clancy is an awesome title company. Charlene's number is 713-784-0006. She's located at 5802 Val Verde. You know, with title companies, they all charge the same amount for title policies. They all same escrow fees. The difference is service. And so if you're looking for a great title company, you need to call Charlene Clancy at 713-784-0006. Tell her that you heard it on the Real Estate Corner, and you should never buy a piece of property. Don't even care if you're buying it from your mama or your daddy. You should never buy a piece of property without a title policy. I also want to go ahead and announce something that I've been working on. It is the Affordable Housing Summit. I'm going to be hosting the Affordable Housing Summit at the Buffalo Soldier Museum. This is going to be on Wednesday, June the 20th. If you are a stakeholder in the industry, you might want to sign up to come to this event. We will be providing lunch for you. Dr. Stephen Klingberg from the Kinder Institute of Rice is going to be speaking. Allison Griffin and Gerald Womack with the Harris County Housing Authority is going to come and talk about Section 8 home ownership. Dana Curvin is going to come and talk about how government affairs work with housing. We have a serious problem here on affordable housing in this city. The average home price in Houston is almost $300,000. And I can tell you when I started this business, it was in the 60s. And so now it is almost $300,000. So we're having an affordable housing summit. We've also got Amanda Teals from Local Initiative Support Corporation. She's going to come and talk a little bit about what can we do. Then we're going to have the stakeholders there. We're going to have a rap session. What do you think we need to do about affordable housing? What do you think, and how can we achieve affordable housing? Thinking about buying or selling, real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bogany. What are our local numbers?
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. All right.
Our local numbers, we're 23.7% of the population here in Houston, and yet we only receive 10.7% of the loans here in Houston. And that as opposed to our white counterparts who have received almost 70% of the loan approval here. The rest were Hispanic and Asian on those loan approval numbers. So we have a serious problem. We are applying for the loans, but we are being denied at a rate, I think it's 37% higher rate than our white counterparts. So we do have a problem, Shad, as far as the state of housing in Black America. As you know, NARAB every year puts out a state of housing in Black America report for across the country.
Okay.
And so that can be found on NARAB's website, narab.com. And I would advise anyone, African American descent or otherwise, who really want to understand what's going on, to take a look at that report. That report is commissioned by NARAB, but they use a lot of professional professors and things like that to help gather the data and report the issues back. It's nareb.com, NAREB.com, and just go to the State of Housing in Black America, the 2017 report. They've done this every year, I think, for the past 4 years now. So you'll have one for every year, and you will see that the progress has been minimal. We are addressing those issues. The issues are being addressed. They're addressing the issues of credit. They're addressing the issues of the overlays, as we talked about, and several other issues they're bringing up. So they too are on the Capitol and lobbying for change. But we, like you said, we have to take a look at what we're doing for ourselves in Black America as far as who we're voting for, who we're putting in office, and why these policies are staying stagnant and the same, and we're not seeing the change that we should.
And I will tell you, going through the report that I talked about earlier that was put on by the commission by the National Association of Realtors, the number one issue is credit in our community. That is the number one issue. The kids come out of college, they've given them a bunch of credit cards. When they get there, nobody's ever explained to them that they're supposed to pay that back. They think that's part. Or they go and they have a bunch of student loan debt, and their house note as much as the student loan debt.
Shad, they don't wait till they get out of college. These kids are in college, and they give them free pizza if they fill out a credit card application. They don't even have a job yet. So they're getting in debt before they get out of college.
So they got the student loans, and then they got the credit cards, and no income to pay these things back. And it's really crazy because they're starting off behind the 8 ball. They don't even get a chance to start off like everybody else. But that is the number one issue. Next to that issue, Hispanics have the same issue on that end. One of the things I thought was quite interesting, Asian Americans have higher income, higher education than whites. But only 57% of them own homes compared to 70-something% of whites. I thought that was quite interesting to do on that end. One of the other things that we talked about is expansion of the credit score, looking at some alternatives. In this survey, it said that if we had alternatives to credit scoring, expansion of it, it's a possibility that over 115 African American people will be able to purchase homes.
That's it, because number one, you've got a lot of African Americans who have never accessed credit, so they don't even have a lot of credit on their credit report. But if they could get their cell phone bill, their utilities, their rent to be positive credit for them and positive trade lines, that a lot of them will have nearly a perfect score because they'll pay those and do pay those things on time. But the type of loans that they're relegated to because they don't have credit is the payday loans we see on the corner, the pawn shops, and those types of things. That's what we see. We need more banking institutions with different policies in our neighborhoods.
You never see the pay loan people in the other community.
No.
No. You never see them rent a tie. You don't see any of that stuff down in those communities. You only see it, so we're setting up people to fail. And the other thing is that subprime loans are back.
Yeah.
That's the other issue. So that's what got people with higher interest rates. So we're not only getting a higher interest rate in car loans, we're getting them in house loans. And it's so important. And we're spending more of our money on rent and houses than the other communities do. So subsequently, you can't save anything. It's hard to save if the majority of your money going to housing.
Shad, this goes back to what we were talking about. We're talking about one on every corner. You only see in our neighborhood. It's kind of like how we came up with the slums and the ghettos. Those things were actually formed and planned by the government. They were set up by the government. So we're still experiencing some of those things that we were supposed to have done away with a long time ago. And what we see having the deserts as far as the grocery stores not in the neighborhood, and having the resources and access to those same retail outlets and things that are in the other neighborhoods. So when you look at this setup and we talk about the 50 years of where we are today and looking at the things that are in that report, man, it seems like we're just repeating some stuff.
Let me give you some socioeconomic information. Also came out of this report. Whites, 92.5% of them completed high school. Their unemployment rate is 3.4%. Their median income is $63,000. Their home ownership rate is 72%. Remember I told you we're much more educated now? 85% of African Americans complete high school. 7% is the unemployment rate, almost double. 38,000 income, almost half the income and only 41% with home ownership.
Almost same education,
Right.
but half the income.
Half the income.
So 60 cents for every dollar. That's what
Right.
I understand that they're paid in for the same type job.
Now let's take it to Hispanics. They're at 67%. Their unemployment is 4.7%. Their median income is 46,882. 46.2% home ownership rate. So they're making less, but they're doing more. So it gets back to, in my field, it's a culture thing.
Making less? I thought they were making more than the African Americans. You said we
Well,
were at 38,000?
they're at 46, we're at 38. But their home ownership is about 5% more, but they less educated. That's what I meant to say.
There you go.
So that goes, those plumbers, those bricklayers, those carpet layers, those framers, they don't have to go to high school to make that big money. They can be able to take skills and work those and hone those skills.
So Shad, so then that brings up the question, all of our kids with these high student loans that they've gone to school for and jobs that they'll never work in.
Right.
So maybe we need to rethink some things. You
Yeah.
know, we put such an emphasis on higher education, and I am not by any means saying that higher education is not an avenue or vehicle we should
Right.
use, but we might need to rethink some things just in looking at that and what we're doing in our community.
Well, and we need to probably leave the psychological degrees alone and some of these other doggone degrees that we have, excuse me. And nothing against anybody out there that's got a PhD in psychological, psychiatry, or homemaking, or whatever that's out there. We need to start looking at some of the real degrees out there, which are coding. Coding. What else? Computer science.
Yeah.
The things that
engineering,
because all that work is going overseas now.
Yes.
And so maybe we need to. I'm talking hard. I'm talking about hard talk now.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody really wants to talk about it. Let's look at the Asian community. Or let's not leave them out. 86% of them have high school diploma. Only 1% more than the black community. 2.8% unemployment. Their median income is $80,000 a year, and 57% of home ownership. Now, something's wrong with that picture. So, but let me share this with you, and I think this brings it on home. 53% of them have college degrees. 15% of Hispanics have college degrees. Only 20% of African Americans have college degrees. So we're higher than Hispanic, but less in home ownership. What does that tell you?
Less in home ownership, less in income. There's something that nobody wants to address. We are still facing discriminatory practices, bottom line.
Right.
So whether it's happening because they have proprietary software that they're putting overlays in, that when black comes up or African American, whatever it is that we check, we're being discriminated again, but then those numbers can also be skewed, Chad, because you know a lot now Hispanics are identifying as white.
Right. Well, this is in this survey. They separated them out.
Okay, good.
I'm just not mentioning because we don't have a lot of time, and every second here is important. But I thought that was quite interesting. Now, you know, and I like your take on this. As I went through this report, we talked about net worth. And I want you who are at home, are listening to me on your drive home right now, is that white, non-Hispanic, their income is $132,483. That's their net worth. African Americans, and this is of 2013, $9,200. Did you hear me? 92. Go over to Hispanic, not much more, 12,458. But they own more houses than we do. Then you go to the Asian American at 112 medium income. So that tells me that the issue is severe until a point that we can't build wealth. We can't build communities. We can't save money. We can't pass wealth on to our families and things of that nature because we're not making enough money because we're spending it, we don't make enough. And wait till I tell you what realtors make. Wait a minute. I got to tell you what the black realtors make. You're going to really be surprised about that. But let's look at the renter cost burden. Severe burden in the white community is 22%. They spend most of their income, 30% in the black community. In the Hispanic community, they're spending 53% of their income. And in the Asian American community, 46% income. Now, these are things that are out there. And this study I saw it I never ever go to the diversity committee when I'm in D.C. But I happened to step in, had a little time, and she was going through these numbers, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible information on our community. So,
but it's not new information, Shad. This information has been out there a long time, and I should ask, when are we going to wake up and say that it's going to take us to do something about this to change? They've had access to this data, and they've known this for years. This is not new information. I mean, we're sharing it because most of us don't know, and they're just now really getting more involved in it as certain groups are highlighting these things, but it's not new. You know,
I agree with you, but let me put it in perspective to you, and I want to put it in perspective to the listeners who bring it home. We've got a black mayor. The city of Houston is being sued right now for housing discrimination. We got a black mayor. And we're being sued because he's allowed housing discrimination. Now tell me, so we've got people in power, and we still can't fix the problem. Our communities are still not moving forward. So how do you fix the problem?
Chad, but we have a black mayor here in Houston, but how many other people in positions of power that have to be there to support him to push these issues through, and also to put more people at the table who can help get the issues through? That's the problem. We get the black mayor in, but then we relax and sit back and don't go and vote to keep it going.
I totally agree with you, but when he didn't do the Fountain View project, which you know is my pet peeve, when he didn't do the Fountain View project, he made the decision not to, that project to move forward. He made the decision that he didn't want our people living on the corner of Westheimer and Fountain View, but he preferred them over in Independent Heights. He made that decision. So what I'm saying is that he had an opportunity to show less disadvantaged kids to go to better schools, less disadvantaged kids to see that other people can work, less disadvantaged parents who are making minimum wage to be able to work where they live and not spend all their money on traveling to a job every day. He had an opportunity to do that.
You're right, but it still goes back to making sure that we are voting to put the right people in those seats, to put pressure on those who are at the top ladder, that they can't make those kind of decisions without great consequences. And so we really need to focus on that.
True, and I would agree with you, and you're taking a high road to it, and I appreciate that. And so, you know, but I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah.
And I was a Mayor Turner supporter on top of that. I've supported him, went against the realtors to support him. And so I believed in him.
Yes.
And so,
and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
When you put yourself out there.
Yeah, you put yourself out there, and the whole community is letting them skate through it. And so, why is HUD? And we've got Ben Carson, who's over HUD. So when you tell me that we don't have people in the right place, we do.
No, you don't. Ben Carson should have never been. He's a brain surgeon.
Yeah,
no, you don't. He's a brain surgeon that needs a brain surgery.
Yeah, he is. But, you know, it is what it is. And I'm going to tell you, for those who, we're on KWWJ 1360 The Gospel, and y'all all know this saying. I won't call it 3 Corinthians or any of that. It will pass. Okay, so we're going to take it from there. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with the Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. Jermaine Freeman is helping us produce the show. We're on Iconic TV every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And Mayor Turner, if you're here and you want to come on, you're welcome to come on Iconic TV and sit here and talk about what we talked about today. I am willing to talk with you about it. I've told you everything that I said tonight. I've told him personally. So it is, you know, I'm here to let you come in and give your point, because you have a good point. We may disagree about the point, but you have your points, and you have reasons you believe that you are. We can't fix this unless we all take care of us. And what I will tell you, you see Trump get in office, he don't care what y'all think. He's doing what he got to do. So we need a mayor who's going to come in and take care of business. We need city council people, because you said he needs support.
Yes.
We need city council people who will stand up for housing. And I'm not talking about housing for African Americans. I'm talking about housing for everybody. Everybody who's watching the show or driving home tonight. We're going to take a quick break. Jermaine is going to play a commercial too, and we'll be right back with the Real Estate Corner. thinking about buying or selling, real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bogany. One 837-2222 is the phone number here. We're listening to the Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany, and I really do appreciate you coming up to DC, walking the Capitol, talking with the realtors, getting an opportunity to do that. I'm going to take a little quick privilege here, but I wanted to set the benefits to individual families for owning a home. Research consistently demonstrates that access to stable, decent, affordable housing promotes positive outcomes for families, including better education, outcomes for their children, better physical and mental health outcomes for people of all ages. In addition, the prospects for upward economic mobility and self-sufficiency are strongly correlated with the availability of affordable housing that is connected to jobs, transit, and other amenities and services. Home ownership in particular is an important factor promoting housing stability, supporting family well-being. There's research that demonstrates that a relationship between saving for a down payment and school performance all works together. Specifically, children and families who purchase a home with a down payment are significantly less likely to drop out of school and their kids than other children. Recent studies have also had documented that the wealth building effect of home ownership is associated with greater sense of control among homeowners in a stable housing market, which leads to a positive mental and a physical stable community. What's your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree. Well, in actuality, when you think about all the benefits of home ownership and the stability, I especially like to speak to it in the case of children, Shad. In the case of our children, it really shows that they do better in school and they're more stable in school because they have a sense of belonging,
right.
And a sense of ownership. And you can't really have citizenship without ownership. That's one of the big things that they talked about in the diversity groups that we've been to sessions on. And so I do agree with almost all of that statement that you just read.
All right, we're in the studio here talking with Kimberley Henson. She is the president of the Black Real Estate Association. The numbers again, 281-837-2222. Give us a call. All our lines are open. You know, we started the show off earlier talking about the legislative meetings that we had in DC. And we talked about national flood. We talked about strong support of net neutrality, tax policy, and we talked about equal access to housing opportunities, which we didn't spend a lot of time, but we're talking about equal access for everyone. Congressman Al Green is actually writing a new bill to make fair housing even stronger. And it includes the LGBT community, and includes everyone in this. And what I want, especially for the TV audience who are watching us, to understand, our issues are your issues. Your issues are flood. Your issues are taxes. Your issues are net neutrality. Your issues are fair housing. We are not just about selling houses. Our issues are your issues. And that's the thing I want you to understand if you're listening to me. Every time somebody buys a house, $58,000 in the state of Texas goes into the economy. Yeah. Every time. Somebody's buying furniture, somebody's buying lawnmowers, people are buying curtains, blinds, they're remodeling. every time somebody purchases a home. This economy does not move forward unless home ownership is moving forward. That was one of the things that the first 4 years of President Obama, he thought it was about manufacturing. It took him 4 years to figure it out that if people ain't buying homes, you have no manufacturing.
Absolutely.
And so my thoughts are, we've got to move forward. We've got to move this economy forward. And I wanted to get your one take on this. Actually, the president of NARAB was in this meeting I was in, and he thought this number was wrong, but I don't think it's wrong. The average white realtor makes about $54,200. The average Hispanic realtor makes about $41,700. The average Asian realtor makes about $56,800. We make $23,000. Is that wrong or right, or what's your thoughts?
But yes, I agree. And partly because, Shad, most of those other ethnicities that you name, they do business with one another. And we do business with them instead of doing business with other black realtors and supporting other black realtors' business. I have been doing this for 20 years, though I am young. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've done nothing else. And I have to work 5-6 times as hard as my counterparts. Though I would have to say I'm much smarter and more intelligent than most.
Right.
I still have to do above and beyond to create a decent income to take care of my family. So I would say that those numbers are probably pretty on point.
Well, I will tell you, one of the major lenders in town did a survey. And survey came out, this was maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I've been around a while. The survey said that most black people buy their homes from white realtors. Yeah, and so when they talk about it being $23,000, I believe that. And I've been truly blessed. You've been truly blessed.
Thank God.
But you work 5 or 6 times harder than our counterparts do.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just one of those things. We've got a caller on line 1. Let's go ahead and take this caller. You had a house fire. So did you have a mortgage on that home? Okay, you're not obligated to, you could take your fire insurance money and go do something totally different if you want to do that. So what you would do is probably raise that house and then sell that lot to somebody who might want to build on it, but you're not obligated to rebuild that house if it had no mortgage. If you had a mortgage, you are obligated to rebuild it to protect the mortgage. All right, well, no, you did a great job. And call me. My phone number is 713-667-1000. You can call me, set an appointment with me. I work with Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green. We're the #1 company in this city, and all sorts of sales, buyers and sellers. And just get an appointment with me. I'd love to sit down and talk with you. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen and calling in. Kimberley, you wanted to say something to him.
Yeah, I just simply wanted to tell him if he could not walk away, sell that land. You know, and I wanted to put an emphasis on that. Even though he has a check, he can get more money by selling that land out. And you did say that, but I wanted to emphasize that because a lot of times people do that, get frustrated, they're emotional about it, and they'll just walk away and start over. But don't allow the city or somebody to come in and take hold of that property, sell it, and get those proceeds also.
All right. Numbers again, 281-837-2222. You're listening to The Real Estate Corner. I'm your host, Shad Bogany. We're here every Tuesday from 6:15 to 7:15, talking real estate, answering your questions. I try to bring the real deal. I don't do a lot of fluff. I just try to tell you the way it is. I've been around a while. I've been doing this business over 30-some years, and I'm never going to lead you in the wrong way. And my thoughts, my opinions are based on my experiences. And so, and that's the thing I want you to know, that we're here to help you. And one of the things, Kimberly, I try to tell people, I wish I could sell everybody a house, but it's enough business for everybody out there. You just need to make the decision to move forward. Thinking about buying or selling, real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Get survey, put a home on the market, review the net sheets, taxes, advice on financing, homestead exemptions, advice on insurance, what kind of mortgage, inspections, considering offers, negotiations, submitting an offer, how good are the schools, down payment assistance, title insurance, home warranties, closing costs, final walkthrough. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call, Shad Bogany.